What if I told you that the first 60 minutes of your day could completely transform your entire life? That the difference between living an extraordinary existence and settling for mediocrity isn't found in some complex formula, but in something as simple as how you choose to begin each morning? But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Has this ever happened to you? You wake up feeling rushed, already behind schedule before your feet even hit the floor. You grab your phone, scroll through notifications, and suddenly you're reactive instead of proactive. Your energy feels scattered, your mind foggy, and by evening, you wonder where the day went and why you feel so unfulfilled despite being busy from dawn to dusk. You're not alone in this struggle. Millions of people worldwide wake up each morning with the best intentions, carrying dreams and aspirations in their hearts, yet somehow find themselves trapped in cycles of mediocrity. We live in an age where everyone is searching for success, happiness, and that elusive sense of balance. But the very complexity of modern life seems to conspire against us. Time constraints, endless responsibilities, and the constant demands of our digital world often leave us feeling like we're running on a hamster wheel. Lots of motion, but no real progress toward what truly matters. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because the solution isn't found in working harder, sleeping less, or adding more to your already overflowing plate. Instead, it lies in understanding a fundamental truth that successful people throughout history have known. Morning time determines the direction of our entire day. When our morning is filled with energy, enthusiasm, and genuine positivity, our day naturally unfolds in the same manner. Think about it for a moment. How many times have you experienced a chaotic morning that led to a chaotic day? Or conversely, those rare occasions when you started your day feeling centered and purposeful, and everything seemed to flow more smoothly? This isn't coincidence. It's the natural law of momentum in action. The morning hours represent something precious and powerful that most people completely overlook. While the world sleeps, these quiet moments offer us an opportunity to connect with ourselves, to align our actions with our deepest values, and to take control of our lives in a way that ripples throughout every subsequent hour. This is when we can transition from being reactive victims of circumstance to becoming proactive architects of our destiny. Stay with me until the end, because what we're exploring today goes far beyond simple time management tips or productivity hacks. We're talking about a systematic approach to personal transformation that has helped millions of people worldwide break free from the cycle of unfulfilled potential and step into the extraordinary lives they were meant to live. The tragedy is that most people have this incredible power sitting right at their fingertips every single morning, yet they unconsciously choose to waste it. They hit the snooze button, reach immediately for their phones, or rush through their morning routine without any intention or purpose. In doing so, they're essentially giving away the most valuable real estate of their entire day. Those precious first moments when their mind is fresh, their willpower is strongest, and their potential for positive change is at its peak. But what if there was a different way? What if you could design a morning routine so powerful, so transformative, that it would fundamentally alter not just how you feel each day, but who you become as a person? What if the secret to unlocking your full potential wasn't hidden in some distant future achievement, but waiting for you tomorrow morning when your alarm goes off? The methodology we're about to explore has been tested by millions of people across every walk of life, and the results speak for themselves. The methodology we're about to explore has been tested by millions of people across every walk of life, and the results speak for themselves. Behind the scenes of every transformation story, every breakthrough moment, every person who has managed to bridge the gap between their current reality and their dream life, there's usually one common denominator that most people never hear about in the success stories. It all comes down to a revelation that researcher Emmet stumbled upon during his own personal crisis. He discovered that the human mind operates on predictable patterns, and the most crucial pattern of all happens in those first precious moments after we wake up. Fox realized that our morning consciousness isn't just randomly scattered thoughts and feelings, it's actually the programming center for our entire day, and by extension, our entire life. This led him to develop what he called the Savers Method, a systematic approach that transforms what might otherwise be random morning activities into a powerful personal development system. The hidden truth behind this method is that it works on multiple levels simultaneously, making you stronger physically, mentally, and emotionally. But most people who try morning routines miss this crucial integration. See, the impact of morning rituals goes far deeper than what meets the eye. When Fox analyzed the patterns of highly successful individuals across different fields, he noticed they all had one thing in common. They had inadvertently created morning practices that hit specific psychological and physiological triggers. These weren't just habits, they were strategic decisions that optimized their brain chemistry, energy levels, and mental clarity before the world could impose its chaos upon them. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it recognizes something most personal. Development approaches completely overlook. We're not just trying to change our behavior, we're rewiring our fundamental identity. Every morning becomes an opportunity to literally sculpt who we are becoming, rather than simply reacting to who we think we've always been. The journey of self-discovery that unfolds through this process is profound. This isn't about reading another self-help book or following someone else's blueprint for success. It's about creating a daily laboratory where you get to experiment with your own potential, where you discover capabilities you didn't know existed, where you uncover the person you were meant to be before life got in the way. Each morning brings new possibilities that most people sleep right through. While others are hitting snooze and immediately diving into email or social media, you're creating space for genuine growth and transformation. You're giving yourself permission to dream again, to reconnect with aspirations that might have gotten buried under years of routine and responsibility. The beauty of this approach lies in its simplicity and its power to compound over time. Small, consistent actions in the morning create ripple effects that extend far beyond those initial 60 minutes. Decisions made in clarity and intention during your morning practice influence every interaction, every choice, every opportunity that presents itself throughout your day. What's fascinating is how this process gradually shifts your relationship with yourself. Instead of feeling like you're constantly trying to catch up with life, you begin to feel like you're actively creating it. The morning becomes your sanctuary, your time to align with your values, your space to nurture the vision of who you're becoming. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic, because understanding the theory is just the beginning. The real magic happens when you see exactly how each component of this system works together to create lasting change. The 6 elements that Fox identified each serve a specific purpose in rewiring your mental, physical, and emotional patterns. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for transformation," if this resonates with your current journey. The 6 elements that Fox identified each serve a specific purpose in rewiring your mental, physical, and emotional patterns. But here's where most people get tripped up. They think transformation has to be dramatic. That change requires massive overhauls and complete life restructuring. The hidden truth is exactly the opposite. Beginnings are always small, almost deceptively simple. The most profound transformations in human history started with decisions that seemed insignificant in the moment. A single morning routine, practiced consistently, becomes the foundation for extraordinary change. What appears to be just 60 minutes of intentional activity gradually rewrites the story of who you are and what you're capable of achieving. This principle operates on what scientists call the compound effect. Small, consistent actions create exponential results over time. When you commit to showing up for yourself each morning, even in the smallest ways, you're making a declaration that your life matters, that your dreams deserve attention, that you're worth the investment. These seemingly minor decisions accumulate into a momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that you don't need to have your entire life figured out before you begin. You don't need to wait for the perfect moment, the ideal circumstances, or until you feel completely ready. The path reveals itself as you walk it, and each morning becomes both a new beginning and a continuation of your evolving journey. But let me address something that might be stirring inside you right now. Have you ever felt that persistent emptiness, That nagging sensation that prevents you from recognizing your full potential? That feeling every morning when you wake up, as if something fundamental is missing, as if you're perpetually lost somewhere between your dreams and your current reality. This gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't a character flaw or a sign that you're not trying hard enough. It's actually evidence of your untapped potential calling out to you. That restlessness, that sense of incompleteness, is your soul's way of reminding you that you were designed for something greater than what you're currently experiencing. Most people interpret this feeling as dissatisfaction with their lives, but it's actually the opposite. It's your inner wisdom recognizing that you have capabilities and possibilities that haven't been activated yet. The emptiness isn't a void to be filled with distractions or achievements. It's a space waiting to be claimed by the person you're becoming. The next level of success isn't found in external accomplishments or in comparing yourself to others. It's discovered in the daily practice of becoming more aligned with your authentic self. Every morning presents an opportunity to close that gap between your current reality and your highest potential, not through dramatic gestures, but through consistent, intentional choices that honor who you're meant to be. This is where the real work begins, not in the grand declarations or the New Year's resolutions that fade by February, but in the quiet moments before the world wakes up, when you choose to invest in yourself rather than immediately surrendering your attention to external demands. The beautiful paradox is that, as you commit to these small morning practices, you begin to see yourself and your life with completely new eyes. Fresh perspectives emerge naturally, not because you're forcing positive thinking, but because you're creating space for clarity and inspiration to arise. Now, let me share with you exactly what each component of this morning transformation system does to your brain and body, because once you understand the science behind why this works so powerfully, you'll never want to start your day any other way. Write in the comments, "I feel that gap," if you recognize this emptiness between your dreams and reality. Now, let me share with you exactly what each component of this morning transformation system does to your brain and body, because once you understand the science behind why this works so powerfully, you'll never want to start your day any other way. The revelation that most people miss is that your morning routine isn't just a collection of activities. It's actually reprogramming your nervous system in real time. When you wake up, your brain is in what neuroscientists call a theta state, the same brainwave pattern associated with deep creativity and heightened learning. This window of heightened neuroplasticity lasts for approximately the first hour after waking, making it the most valuable real estate in your entire day. Here's the hidden truth behind why changing your morning routine changes everything. The quality of your first hour literally sets the neurochemical tone for the next 15 to 16 hours. Your brain releases specific hormones and neurotransmitters based on how you begin your day, and these chemical messengers influence every decision, every interaction, every opportunity that comes your way. Most people unconsciously sabotage this incredible biological advantage by immediately reaching for their phones, diving into email, or rushing through their morning in a state of reactive stress. They're essentially programming their nervous system for chaos, anxiety, and scattered attention before they've even left the house. But when you make the decision to approach your morning with intention, something extraordinary begins to happen. You're not just changing your schedule, you're rewiring your brain's default patterns. Each morning becomes an opportunity to consciously choose which version of yourself shows up for the day. The impact goes far beyond personal productivity or feeling more organized. You're actually training your mind to operate from a place of proactive choice rather than reactive habit. This shift in how you begin your day creates a ripple effect that influences every aspect of your life, from your relationships to your career, to your overall sense of fulfillment and purpose. If you want your life to become extraordinary, you have to do something extraordinary. But here's where most people get it wrong. They think extraordinary means dramatic, complicated, or time-consuming. The truth is that extraordinary results come from ordinary actions performed with extraordinary consistency and intention. The morning process we're exploring isn't just a way of waking up, it's a comprehensive system that helps you balance your mental, physical, and emotional health simultaneously. While most approaches to personal development focus on one area at a time, this method recognizes that true transformation happens when all aspects of your being are aligned and working together. Behind the scenes of every success story, every breakthrough moment, every person who has managed to create lasting change in their life, there's usually a morning practice that most people never hear about. These individuals understand that the battle for their day, and ultimately their life, is won or lost in those first crucial moments after their alarm goes off. The journey from where you are now to where you want to be doesn't require you to become a completely different person overnight. It requires you to make slightly different decisions each morning. Decisions that honor your highest aspirations rather than your lowest impulses. What makes this approach so powerful is that it works with your natural biology rather than against it. You're not forcing yourself to be motivated or disciplined. You're creating conditions where motivation and discipline arise naturally from the practice itself. The mindset shift that occurs through consistent morning practice is profound. Instead of feeling like life is happening to you, you begin to feel like you're actively creating your life. Instead of starting each day from a place of deficit or reaction, you begin from a place of abundance and intention. Now, let me walk you through exactly what this looks like in practice, because understanding the components of this system will show you how simple, yet transformative this approach can be. Write in the comments, "I'm choosing extraordinary" if you're ready to make this shift in your morning approach. Now, let me walk you through exactly what this looks like in practice, because understanding the components of this system will show you how simple yet transformative this approach can be. The fundamental shift in thinking that changes everything is recognizing that success isn't just a destination you arrive at someday. It's a process you engage with every single morning. Most people are waiting for success to happen to them, but every person who has achieved something meaningful understands a deeper truth. How they start their day directly determines how productive and fulfilled they'll be. This revelation completely reframes the entire conversation around achievement and personal growth. Instead of focusing on distant goals or comparing yourself to others who seem to have it all figured out, you begin to understand that success is actually built in small daily increments during those quiet morning hours when the world is still asleep. The journey toward this understanding often begins with a wake-up call, sometimes literally life-altering in its impact. Marcus, the researcher who refined much of what we know about morning practices, discovered this truth in the most dramatic way possible. When he was 23 years old, a car accident nearly took his life. A drunk driver hit his car head-on, and for 7 minutes, his breathing stopped completely. The doctors didn't think he would survive, but something extraordinary happened during those crucial moments between life and death. Marcus later described experiencing a profound clarity about what really mattered, about how precious each day truly is, and about the incredible power we have to shape our experience through the choices we make in those first waking moments. The accident became a catalyst for a complete transformation in how he approached each morning. Lying in that hospital bed, unable to move, he realized that most people sleepwalk through their mornings, unconsciously giving away the most powerful hour of their day. He understood that the difference between those who thrive and those who merely survive often comes down to what happens in that first hour after their eyes open. The profound impact of that near-death experience wasn't just personal. It led to discoveries that have since helped millions of people worldwide. Marcus began to see patterns that others missed, connections between morning practices and life outcomes that seemed almost too simple to be true, yet were consistently proven through real-world results. What emerged from his recovery process was a systematic approach to mornings that addressed not just productivity or goal achievement, but the deeper question of how to live a life aligned with your highest potential. He realized that the morning hours represent a daily opportunity for rebirth, a chance to consciously choose who you become rather than simply reacting to who you think you've always been. The hidden truth that Marcus uncovered during his healing journey was that transformation doesn't require dramatic life changes or perfect circumstances. It requires a commitment to showing up for yourself consistently, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when it would be easier to hit snooze and surrender to the autopilot patterns that keep most people stuck. Behind the scenes of his recovery, Marcus began experimenting with different morning practices, testing what worked and what didn't, refining a system that could be adapted by anyone regardless of their current circumstances or energy levels. What he discovered was that the morning isn't just about preparing for your day. It's about preparing for your life. Now, what makes this approach so universally effective is how it works with your brain's natural rhythms rather than against them, creating a foundation for sustained transformation that doesn't depend on willpower or motivation. Write in the comments, "Second chances matter," if you believe we all have the power to transform our lives starting tomorrow morning. Now, what makes this approach so universally effective is how it works with your brain's natural rhythms rather than against them, creating a foundation for sustained transformation that doesn't depend on willpower or motivation. The recovery process revealed something profound about human potential that Marcus had never understood before. This new beginning didn't just heal his physical injuries, it awakened a hidden strength within him that he didn't even know existed. The morning hours became his sanctuary, his laboratory for personal transformation, his time to improve himself, gain genuine inspiration, and strengthen what he came to think of as his soul. What's fascinating about this journey is how it shifted his entire relationship with time itself. Before the accident, mornings were something to get through, a necessary evil before the real day began. But in those quiet hours of recovery, something clicked. This became his time. Not time stolen from sleep or borrowed from other obligations, but time that belonged entirely to him. During those sacred morning moments, Marcus could connect with himself in ways that the noise and demands of daily life never allowed. He could remember his dreams, not just the ones that visited him in sleep, but the deeper aspirations and visions that had gotten buried under years of routine and external expectations. Most importantly, he learned to consciously direct his energy in a positive direction, before the world had a chance to scatter his attention in 1,000 different directions. The revelation that changed everything was understanding that morning time is no less than magic. When the world is sleeping, when the phones aren't ringing, when the emails haven't started flooding in, when the demands and distractions haven't yet claimed your mental real estate, that's when you can actually hear the silence within yourself. This isn't just poetic language. There's real science behind why early morning consciousness feels different. Your cortisol levels are naturally optimal. Your willpower reserves are at their peak, and your brain is still in that special state where deep insights and creative breakthroughs are most likely to occur. Marcus realized that waking up early doesn't just give you more time, it gives you a completely different quality of time, time in which you can actually live for yourself. The hidden truth that most people never discover is that those early morning hours represent the only time in your day that is truly yours. Once the world wakes up, once the responsibilities and obligations kick in, once other people's agendas start competing for your attention, you're no longer living your life, you're reacting to it. But in those precious morning moments, you have the power to set the tone, to choose your state of mind, to align with your deepest values before external circumstances try to pull you off course. This is where the real work of transformation happens, not in the grand gestures or the dramatic life overhauls, but in the quiet consistency of showing up for yourself when no one else is watching. The impact of this shift in Marcus's life was immediate and profound. Instead of feeling like he was constantly trying to catch up with life, he began to feel like he was actively creating it. Instead of starting each day from a place of reaction and stress, he began from a place of intention and clarity. What emerged from this personal transformation was a systematic understanding of how to harness these morning hours for maximum impact, not just on productivity or achievement, but on the deeper question of becoming the person you were meant to be. Now, let me reveal the specific framework that emerged from these discoveries, because once you understand how each element works together, you'll see why this approach has been so transformative for millions of people worldwide. Write in the comments, "I want that magic," if you're ready to discover the power of early morning silence. Now let me reveal the specific framework that emerged from these discoveries, because once you understand how each element works together, you'll see why this approach has been so transformative for millions of people worldwide. What happened behind the scenes after Marcus refined this system was nothing short of extraordinary. He didn't just adopt this process in his own life and keep it to himself. He began sharing it with others, and the ripple effects were immediate and profound. People from every walk of life, every background, every level of success or struggle, began implementing these morning practices and experiencing transformations that they never thought possible. The impact went far beyond what anyone anticipated. Letters and testimonials started pouring in from people who had read about his discoveries. Teachers who had been burnt out for years suddenly found their passion for education reignited. Entrepreneurs who had been stuck in cycles of procrastination began launching businesses they had only dreamed about. Parents who felt overwhelmed by the demands of family life discovered reservoirs of patience and presence they didn't know they possessed. What made these success stories so compelling wasn't that people were achieving external markers of success, though many were doing that too. The real transformation was happening at a deeper level. People were reconnecting with parts of themselves they had forgotten existed. They were remembering dreams they had given up on, rediscovering energy they thought was gone forever. And most importantly, they were proving to themselves that change was not only possible, but inevitable when approached with the right system. The revelations that emerged from these thousands of transformation stories revealed an uncomfortable truth about human potential. The data became undeniable. There was a clear pattern separating those who created extraordinary lives from those who remained stuck in mediocrity, and it had everything to do with how they began each day. But here's where we need to address something that might be stirring uncomfortably inside you right now. When you wake up in the morning, do you ever wonder why your life isn't the way you want it to be? That nagging question that whispers in those first moments of consciousness, reminding you of the gap between where you are and where you thought you'd be by now. Most of us carry this feeling that we're lacking something fundamental, that we can't quite reach our dreams no matter how hard we try. This harsh reality confronts us with uncomfortable truths about the choices we've been making, the patterns we've been accepting, and the potential we've been leaving untapped. The statistics that emerged from studying thousands of people revealed something sobering. The vast majority of people never come close to realizing their full potential. They settle into lives of quiet resignation, telling themselves that their dreams were unrealistic, that they should be grateful for what they have, that extraordinary lives are reserved for other people. This isn't a judgment or a criticism. It's simply an observation about the human condition that most of us would rather not examine too closely. The mindset that keeps people trapped isn't necessarily negative thinking or lack of ambition. Often, it's simply the absence of a systematic approach to personal growth. Now, what separates that small percentage who do create extraordinary lives from everyone else isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's their morning decisions. Write in the comments, "I see the gap," if you recognize this feeling of untapped potential in your own life. Now, what separates that small percentage who do create extraordinary lives from everyone else isn't talent, luck, or circumstances. It's their morning decisions. But before we can harness that power, we need to understand what's been holding us back. The hidden truth is that most of us have been unknowingly participating in our own limitation. From the earliest age, we're conditioned to accept a version of reality that may not actually be real at all. Think about your childhood for a moment. How many times were you told to be realistic about your dreams? How often were your biggest aspirations dismissed as impractical or unrealistic? This isn't necessarily malicious. The adults in your life were often trying to protect you from disappointment. But in the process, something profound happened behind the scenes of your developing consciousness. You gradually learned to stop believing in the very possibilities that once excited you most. You internalized limitations that weren't actually yours. You began to accept a definition of reality that was handed to you rather than discovered through your own experience and experimentation. But here's the question that changes everything. What if the reality you've been living in isn't actually a reflection of your true limitations? What if it's simply a collective agreement that most people never question? What if the boundaries you've accepted as permanent are actually just suggestions that you can choose to ignore? The journey toward extraordinary living begins with recognizing that much of what we call reality is actually just widely accepted limitation. The people who transform their lives aren't necessarily more talented or gifted. They simply refuse to accept the same constraints that keep everyone else stuck. When researchers studied the patterns that keep people trapped in mediocrity, three primary factors emerged consistently. The first is what psychologists call the burden of the past. We allow our previous experiences and failures to dictate what we believe is possible for our future. Every setback becomes evidence that we should lower our expectations. Every disappointment becomes proof that we should dream smaller. The second factor is the unconscious acceptance of average standards. We look around at what most people are achieving and use that as our benchmark for what's possible. We mistake normal for natural, common for correct. This mindset creates a gravitational pull toward mediocrity that's incredibly difficult to escape without conscious intervention. The third factor, and perhaps the most damaging, is the refusal to take full responsibility for our circumstances. When things don't go as planned, we instinctively look for external factors to blame: the economy, our upbringing, our genetics, our lack of opportunities. While these factors can certainly influence our journey, the moment we make them the primary reason for our results, we surrender our power to create change. The impact of these three patterns is profound because they work together to create a reinforcing cycle of limitation. Each failure confirms our belief that we should expect less, each disappointment proves that dreaming big is dangerous, and each setback provides more evidence that our circumstances are beyond our control. But here's where the morning transformation becomes revolutionary. It directly addresses all three of these limiting patterns simultaneously, creating new neural pathways that support expansion rather than contraction. Now, let me show you exactly how the morning framework works to rewire these deep-seated patterns, because understanding this mechanism is crucial to your success with the system. Write in the comments, "I'm breaking free," if you're ready to challenge the limitations you've accepted as reality. Now, let me show you exactly how the morning framework works to rewire these deep-seated patterns, because understanding this mechanism is crucial to your success with the system. The statistics that emerged from studying thousands of transformation journeys revealed a stark divide in human experience. There's a clear distinction between two groups of people: those who merely survive their lives and those who truly live them. The numbers are sobering. Approximately 95% of people fall into the first category, while only 5% manage to break through into genuine fulfillment and extraordinary achievement. This isn't about income levels, education, or natural talent. The divide runs much deeper than external circumstances. It's about the fundamental decisions people make every single day, starting with the very first decision they make when their alarm goes off. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that whatever you want to become depends entirely on your present moment choices. Your past doesn't determine your future. Your present does. The moment you decide to change today, your future immediately becomes different. This isn't motivational theory. It's practical reality based on how human consciousness actually works. The hidden truth behind this divide is that most people never make a conscious choice about which group they want to belong to. They drift into the 95% by default, not through any deliberate decision, but through the accumulated impact of unconscious morning routines that program them for mediocrity rather than excellence. Behind the scenes of every extraordinary life, you'll find someone who made a different choice in those crucial morning moments. They understood that the battle for their entire day, and ultimately their entire life, is won or lost in the first hour after they wake up. The transformation process isn't about overhauling your entire existence overnight. It's about making a simple decision to step out of the passive majority and into the active minority. It's about choosing to live intentionally rather than accidentally, to design your life rather than simply react to it. The journey from survival to thriving begins with a single morning, a single decision to invest in yourself before the world makes its demands on your time and attention. The people who create extraordinary lives aren't necessarily more motivated or disciplined than everyone else. They simply have systems that make the right choices automatic. This is where the real power of morning transformation reveals itself. You're not just changing your schedule or adding new activities to your day. You're fundamentally shifting which version of yourself shows up for life. You're choosing to be part of that small percentage who refuse to settle for what everyone else accepts as normal. The decision point is always right now, right here, in this moment. You can continue living your life the way most people do, accepting the limitations that society has convinced you are permanent. Or you can make the choice to join that 5% who understand that extraordinary living is available to anyone, willing to change how they begin each day. The beautiful thing about this choice is that it doesn't require you to have everything figured out. It doesn't demand that you feel completely ready or perfectly motivated. It simply asks that you make one different decision tomorrow morning than you made this morning. Now, I want to take you deeper into what this transformation actually looks like in practice, because understanding the specific mechanism of change will give you the confidence to begin this journey. Write in the comments, "I choose the 5% if you're ready to make this fundamental shift in how you approach your life." Now, I want to take you deeper into what this transformation actually looks like in practice, because understanding the specific mechanism of change will give you the confidence to begin this journey. Sometimes life brings us to a turning point where everything feels stagnant. Your passion seems muted, your enthusiasm feels forced, and your dreams appear increasingly distant and blurred. You wake up each morning with a vague sense that something needs to change, but you're not sure where to begin or if real transformation is even possible at this stage of your life. But here's a revelation that might surprise you. In just 30 days, your entire life can completely change. Not through dramatic gestures or massive overhauls, but through the compound effect of small, consistent decisions that gradually rewire your brain's default patterns. The science behind this transformation is both fascinating and encouraging. Neuroscientists have discovered that it takes approximately 30 days for your brain to establish new neural pathways strong enough to override old patterns. But here's the hidden truth that most people don't understand about this process. These 30 days won't be uniformly challenging. The journey unfolds in 3 distinct phases, each with its own characteristics and psychological dynamics. The first 10 days represent the resistance phase, where your mind will actively fight against the new patterns you're trying to establish. Your brain is literally programmed to conserve energy by maintaining existing habits, so it will generate every excuse, every rationalization, every compelling reason why you should return to your old ways. During this initial phase, you'll wake up and immediately feel the pull of familiar patterns. Your mind will whisper that you're too tired, that you can start tomorrow, that this new approach isn't really necessary. This isn't a character flaw or lack of willpower. It's simply your nervous system doing what it's designed to do: maintain the status quo. The second 10 days bring a subtle but significant shift. The resistance is still there, but it's less intense. You'll find yourself experiencing what researchers call the conflict phase. Part of you is beginning to recognize the benefits of your new morning practice, while another part is still attached to the old patterns. This internal dialogue can feel frustrating, but it's actually evidence that change is happening at a neurological level. Behind the scenes during this middle phase, your brain is literally rewiring itself. New neural connections are strengthening while old ones are weakening. You're not just changing your behavior, you're changing your brain's architecture. The final 10 days represent the integration phase, where something magical begins to happen. The new patterns start feeling less like forced discipline and more like natural preference. You begin to crave the clarity and energy that comes from your morning practice. The transformation isn't just behavioral anymore, it's become part of your identity. What makes this 30-day framework so powerful is that it works with your brain's natural change cycles rather than against them. Instead of relying on motivation or willpower, which are notoriously unreliable, you're leveraging the predictable science of neuroplasticity. The impact of understanding these phases is profound because it removes the mystery and frustration from the change process. When you know that resistance is temporary and predictable, you can navigate through it with confidence, rather than interpreting it as evidence that you're failing. Now let me reveal the specific structure that makes this 30-day transformation so consistently effective, because once you see how each component works together, you'll understand why. Millions of people have used this system to completely revolutionize their lives. Write in the comments, 30 days to freedom, if you're ready to commit to this transformation process. Now let me reveal the specific structure that makes this 30-day transformation so consistently effective, because once you see how each component works together, you'll understand why millions of people have used this system to completely revolutionize their lives. The hidden truth about successful transformation isn't found in the mechanics of what you do. It's found in the mental preparation that happens before you even begin. The most critical factor in this entire process is preparing your mindset for what's about to unfold. This isn't just positive thinking or motivational self-talk. It's about understanding the profound neurological impact of how you spend your first waking hour. When you wake up early in the morning and intentionally spend that first hour in a positive, purposeful way, something remarkable happens behind the scenes of your consciousness. Your brain doesn't just stay inspired for those 60 minutes, it maintains that elevated state throughout the entire day. The neurochemicals released during your morning practice create a foundation of clarity, energy, and optimism that influences every decision, every interaction, every opportunity that comes your way. This is what the 30-day challenge really teaches you, not just a new routine, but a completely different relationship with your own potential. You begin to understand that you have far more control over your mental and emotional states than you ever realized. But here's where most people misunderstand what this transformation is really about. This challenge isn't simply about waking up early, though that's certainly part of it. The early rising is just the vehicle for something much deeper and more profound. It's about recognizing your life's true priorities, facing the fears that have been holding you back, and discovering possibilities within yourself that you may have forgotten existed. The journey toward extraordinary living requires you to confront some uncomfortable questions about how you've been living. What are you actually prioritizing with your time and energy? What fears have been masquerading as practical concerns? What dreams have you abandoned not because they were impossible, but because pursuing them required a level of commitment and self-belief that felt too risky? When you complete this challenge, and I mean truly complete it, not just go through the motions for a few days, you build something that most people never develop: a deep, authentic relationship with yourself. You rediscover parts of your personality that got buried under years of external expectations and social conditioning. You reconnect with aspirations that you may have dismissed as unrealistic, but were actually just waiting for the right conditions to flourish. The impact of this self-relationship extends far beyond personal productivity or goal achievement. You begin to trust yourself in ways you haven't since childhood. You start making decisions based on your own inner wisdom, rather than constantly seeking validation from others. You develop the kind of unshakable confidence that comes not from external accomplishments, but from knowing that you can count on yourself to show up consistently for your own growth. The transformation that occurs during these 30 days operates on multiple levels simultaneously. On the surface, you're changing your morning routine. Beneath that, you're rewiring your brain's default patterns. At the deepest level, you're remembering who you actually are beneath all the roles and responsibilities and expectations that life has layered on top of your authentic self. Now let me walk you through the specific components of this morning transformation system, because understanding how each element contributes to the overall impact will help you implement this approach with maximum effectiveness. Write in the comments, "I'm ready to meet myself," if you're prepared to build this deeper relationship through the 30-day journey. Now let me walk you through the specific components of this morning transformation system, because understanding how each element contributes to the overall impact will help you implement this approach with maximum effectiveness. Everyone wants to be genuinely happy in their life, achieve meaningful success, and accomplish everything their heart truly desires. But here's a revelation that most people never consider. Just a few morning hours, approached with the right system, can literally change your entire life trajectory. Morning time represents that magical moment when the world is quiet, distractions are minimal, and your mind is at its most concentrated and receptive state. The framework that emerged from years of research and real-world testing is elegantly simple, yet profoundly comprehensive. It's designed to address every dimension of human potential, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual, in a way that creates synergistic effects rather than isolated improvements. This systematic approach works because it recognizes a fundamental truth about human transformation. Lasting change happens when you align all aspects of your being toward the same goal. Most personal development approaches focus on one area at a time, but the morning hours offer a unique opportunity to integrate multiple growth practices into a unified experience. The first element of this transformation system is silence, which serves as the foundation for everything else that follows. This isn't just about being quiet, it's about deliberately connecting with the depths within yourself that rarely get accessed in our noisy, distracted world. The hidden power of silence lies in what happens behind the scenes of your consciousness when you create space for inner stillness. This silence can take many forms: meditation, prayer, or simply sitting quietly without any agenda other than being present with yourself. The specific technique matters less than the intention to listen rather than speak, to receive rather than project, to connect rather than perform. When you consistently create this space for silence in your morning practice, you begin to hear what researchers call your inner voice, that deeper wisdom that exists beneath the constant chatter of daily thoughts and concerns. This isn't mystical thinking, it's practical psychology. Your subconscious mind processes enormous amounts of information that your conscious mind never directly accesses, and silence creates the conditions for this deeper intelligence to emerge. The impact of this practice extends far beyond relaxation or stress relief. Regular silence actually rewires your brain's default mode network, the neural system responsible for self-reflection and insight. People who maintain consistent silence practices report dramatically improved decision-making abilities, greater clarity about life direction, and a profound sense of inner peace that remains stable even during external chaos. What makes morning silence particularly powerful is the timing. Your brain is naturally in an alpha wave state upon waking, the same brainwave pattern associated with creativity, intuition, and deep learning. By intentionally extending and deepening this state through silence, you're optimizing your consciousness for the kind of insights and breakthroughs that typically only emerge during peak experiences. The journey into silence also serves as a daily reset for your nervous system. While you sleep, your subconscious mind processes the previous day's experiences, emotions, and information. Morning silence provides space for this integration to complete itself, ensuring you begin each day with a clear mental and emotional slate. Now, building upon this foundation of inner stillness, the next element introduces a practice that transforms how you communicate with yourself and program your subconscious mind for success. Write in the comments, "I hear my inner voice," if you're ready to discover what emerges when you create space for silence in your mornings. Now, building upon this foundation of inner stillness, the next element introduces a practice that transforms how you communicate with yourself and program your subconscious mind for success. The second component of this transformation system is affirmations, though this practice goes far deeper than the simple positive thinking that most people associate with the term. This is about deliberately inspiring yourself, consciously reminding yourself of your dreams and capabilities, and systematically reprogramming the internal dialogue that shapes every decision you make. The hidden truth about affirmations is that you're already using them constantly. You're just not aware of it, and most of them are working against you rather than for you. Every time you think, "I can't do this," "I'm not good enough," or "this is too hard," you're practicing negative affirmations that your subconscious mind accepts as truth. When you say positive, empowering things to yourself every morning, something remarkable happens behind the scenes of your consciousness. Your brain literally starts believing these statements to be true, not because you're deluding yourself, but because repetition creates neural pathways that become your new default thought patterns. The key to effective affirmations lies in specificity and emotion. Instead of generic statements like, "I am successful," you craft declarations that connect with your actual goals and dreams. "I am confidently building the business that allows me to impact thousands of lives while providing financial freedom for my family." The more detailed and emotionally resonant your affirmations, the more powerfully they program your subconscious mind. This practice works because your brain cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual experiences. When you consistently affirm your capabilities and goals with genuine feeling, you're literally rehearsing success at a neurological level, making it feel familiar and achievable rather than foreign and impossible. Building naturally from this foundation of empowered self-talk, the next element takes this programming process even deeper through the power of mental rehearsal. Visualization serves as the bridge between your current reality and your dreams, transforming abstract goals into felt experiences that your nervous system recognizes as possible. The practice of visualization means deliberately closing your eyes and not just thinking about the success you want to achieve, but actually feeling it in your body. You imagine yourself at the top of your career, living your life's biggest dream, experiencing the emotions, sensations, and satisfaction that come with that achievement. This isn't wishful thinking or fantasy. It's strategic mental rehearsal that motivates you and directs your energy in precisely the right direction. Professional athletes have used this technique for decades because research consistently shows that mental practice can improve performance almost as much as physical practice. The impact of morning visualization extends far beyond motivation. When you consistently experience your desired future in vivid detail, your brain begins to notice opportunities and possibilities that support that vision. You start making different choices, taking different actions, and responding to challenges differently because your nervous system has been programmed to expect success rather than failure. What makes morning visualization particularly powerful is how it leverages your brain's natural state upon waking. During those first conscious moments, your mind is still in a theta brainwave state, the same frequency associated with deep creativity and accelerated learning. This creates optimal conditions for programming your subconscious mind with empowering visions of your future. Now, let me reveal how these mental practices integrate with physical movement to create a complete transformation system that addresses every aspect of human potential. Write in the comments, "I see my future clearly," if you're ready to begin using visualization to bridge the gap between your dreams and reality. Now, let me reveal how these mental practices integrate with physical movement to create a complete transformation system that addresses every aspect of human potential. The hidden truth that most people overlook is the profound connection between your body and mind. They're not separate systems operating independently. They're interconnected aspects of one unified organism that constantly influence each other. This understanding revolutionizes how we approach personal transformation because it reveals why purely mental approaches often fail to create lasting change. Exercise doesn't just strengthen your body, it literally activates your brain in ways that enhance every other aspect of your morning practice. When you move your body for even a few minutes in the morning, something remarkable happens behind the scenes of your physiology. Your brain releases a cascade of neurochemicals, endorphins, dopamine, norepinephrine, and brain-derived neurotrophic factor that create the optimal mental state for learning, creativity, and decision-making. The impact of morning movement extends far beyond the immediate energy boost. When your brain becomes fresh and alert through physical activity, this heightened state of mental clarity remains with you throughout the entire day, keeping you productive, focused, and emotionally balanced even when challenges arise. What makes morning exercise particularly powerful is how it primes your nervous system for success. The confidence that comes from completing a physical challenge first thing in the morning creates momentum that carries into every other area of your life. You begin each day having already accomplished something meaningful, which sets a tone of achievement rather than procrastination. This doesn't require intense workouts or complicated fitness routines. Even simple movements, stretching, jumping jacks, a brief walk, or basic bodyweight exercises are sufficient to trigger the neurochemical changes that enhance your mental performance. The key is consistency rather than intensity, movement rather than punishment. Building upon this foundation of mental clarity and physical vitality, The next component introduces a practice that has the power to completely reshape your thinking patterns and expand your possibilities. Reading represents far more than information consumption. It's a treasure trove of knowledge that can fundamentally change your thinking and, consequently, your life. The practice of reading something inspiring in the morning gives your day exactly the right start, because it fills your mind with empowering ideas before the world has a chance to fill it with its problems and distractions. This isn't about forcing yourself to read dense academic texts or feeling guilty about your reading speed. It's about consistently exposing yourself to ideas that elevate your thinking and expand your vision of what's possible. No matter how busy you are, dedicating even 10 to 15 minutes of your morning to reading creates profound cumulative effects over time. The average person reads about 200 words per minute, which means you can absorb 2,000 to 3,000 words of transformational content each morning. Over the course of a year, this adds up to the equivalent of dozens of books worth of knowledge and inspiration. The journey of morning reading works on multiple levels simultaneously. On the surface, you're acquiring new information and perspectives. At a deeper level, you're training your mind to think in new ways, to consider possibilities you might never have imagined, and to develop the kind of expanded thinking that successful people use to solve problems and create opportunities. Behind the scenes, this practice also serves as a buffer against the negativity and limitation that pervades most media and casual conversation. Instead of starting your day with news about problems you can't control, you're filling your consciousness with solutions, strategies, and stories of human potential. Now, let me show you how the final component of this system ties everything together by helping you process and integrate these daily experiences in a way that accelerates your transformation. Write in the comments, "Knowledge is power," if you understand how morning reading can reshape your entire thinking process. Now let me show you how the final component of this system ties everything together by helping you process and integrate these daily experiences in a way that accelerates your transformation. The practice of scribing represents far more than simply keeping a journal or making to-do lists. This is about deliberately putting your thoughts, feelings, and goals on paper in a way that creates clarity, accountability, and insight. When you write down what's circulating in your mind, something powerful happens. You can finally understand these thoughts and emotions objectively rather than being overwhelmed by them. The hidden power of writing lies in how it forces your abstract thoughts into concrete form. Ideas that seem clear in your head often reveal gaps or inconsistencies when you try to articulate them on paper. Emotions that feel overwhelming become manageable when you can see them written out. Goals that seem impossible become actionable when you break them down into specific written steps. This habit doesn't just take you toward your dreams, it gives you an invaluable opportunity to recognize your patterns, including the limiting beliefs and self-sabotaging behaviors that might otherwise remain invisible. Behind the scenes of your consciousness, scribing serves as a daily audit of your mental and emotional state, helping you identify what's working and what needs adjustment. The journey of morning writing also creates a powerful feedback loop for your transformation process. You can track your progress, celebrate your wins, learn from your setbacks, and continuously refine your approach based on real data rather than vague impressions. Now, as these 6 components come together, silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing, something extraordinary begins to emerge. Have you ever truly considered how powerful your morning can be? Your morning isn't just the start of another day. It can literally be the key to determining the entire direction of your life. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that a simple morning routine, approached with intention and consistency, can completely transform your existence. Not through magic or wishful thinking, but through the systematic application of practices that optimize your mental, physical, and emotional state before the world makes its demands on your attention. The impact of this integrated approach extends far beyond productivity or goal achievement. You're creating a daily foundation for the person you want to become. Each morning becomes an opportunity to align with your highest values, connect with your deepest aspirations, and take concrete steps toward the life you truly want to live. The mindset shift that occurs through this practice is profound. Instead of feeling like you're constantly reacting to life, you begin to feel like you're actively creating it. Instead of starting each day from a place of stress or urgency, you begin from a place of clarity and intention. The beautiful thing about this system is its adaptability. You can start with just one component and gradually add others as they become natural. You can adjust the timing and intensity based on your current circumstances. The key is beginning, not perfecting. Your transformation doesn't require you to become a different person overnight. It simply requires you to make slightly different choices each morning, choices that honor your potential rather than your limitations. Now, I want to share with you the practical strategies for implementing this system successfully, because understanding the theory is just the beginning. The real magic happens in the consistent application. Write in the comments, "My morning, my life," if you're ready to take control of your transformation starting tomorrow. Now I want to share with you the practical strategies for implementing this system successfully, because understanding the theory is just the beginning. The real magic happens in the consistent application. But before we dive into the mechanics, we need to address something even more fundamental: the deeper revelation that makes this entire transformation possible. The real reason for waking up early in the morning isn't just about productivity or self-improvement. It's about recognizing your life's true purpose, connecting with the vision that gives your existence meaning and direction. Here's the hidden truth that changes everything. If you have a big dream, a genuine desire that excites you at a cellular level, then waking up in the morning becomes effortless. When you have something that pulls you out of bed rather than having to push yourself, the entire experience transforms from discipline to anticipation. The journey toward extraordinary living begins with this fundamental recognition. Every person has a miracle hidden inside them. This isn't motivational rhetoric. It's a practical reality that most people never discover because they never create the conditions for it to emerge. That miracle might be a business that changes an industry, a piece of art that moves thousands of people, a solution to a problem that's been plaguing your community, or simply the full expression of who you were meant to be. Behind the scenes of every breakthrough, every innovation, every life that has made a meaningful impact, you'll find someone who discovered their hidden miracle during those quiet morning hours when the world was still asleep. They used that time not just to plan their day, but to commune with their deepest aspirations and highest potential. The transformation that occurs through morning practice goes far beyond habit formation or routine optimization. Morning time becomes a sacred space for self-awakening, a daily opportunity to engage with the most important questions of human existence. This is your time to ask yourself, who am I, really, beneath all the roles and expectations? What do I truly want, not what others expect me to want? Why am I here, and what unique contribution am I meant to make? When you consistently look within yourself during these morning moments, something profound begins to emerge. You start to realize both your authentic strengths and your genuine limitations, not the ones that society has projected onto you, but the ones that actually exist. This self-knowledge becomes the foundation for making decisions that align with your true nature, rather than fighting against it. The impact of this self-awakening process extends into every aspect of your life. Relationships become more authentic because you're showing up as who you really are, rather than who you think you should be. Career decisions become clearer because you understand what genuinely energizes you versus what you've been told should fulfill you. Your daily choices become more intentional because they're guided by inner wisdom rather than external pressure. The mindset shift that occurs through this morning self-inquiry is revolutionary. Instead of spending your life trying to become someone else's version of successful, you begin the journey of becoming the fullest expression of yourself. Instead of measuring your worth against external standards, you develop internal metrics based on alignment and authenticity. Now, let me reveal the specific strategies that ensure this transformation becomes sustainable and inevitable. Because knowing what to do is only half the equation. Knowing how to make it stick is what separates temporary motivation from permanent change. Write in the comments, "I'm awakening to myself," if you're ready to use your mornings to Discover who you really are beneath the surface. Now let me reveal the specific strategies that ensure this transformation becomes sustainable and inevitable. Because knowing what to do is only half the equation. Knowing how to make it stick is what separates temporary motivation from permanent change. The hidden truth about lasting transformation is that it must be personally designed rather than universally prescribed. You need to create your own morning routine, one that reflects your unique needs, dreams, and circumstances. Everyone's life situation is different, which means your morning routine should also be uniquely yours. This isn't about following someone else's exact blueprint or trying to replicate what works for others. It's about taking the fundamental components, meditation, writing, exercise, reading, and adapting them in your own way to make your morning genuinely special and sustainable for your lifestyle. The beauty of this personalized approach lies in how it honors your authentic preferences rather than forcing you into a rigid framework that feels unnatural. Maybe you're drawn to journaling more than meditation, or perhaps gentle stretching resonates with you more than intense exercise. The key is creating a combination that you actually look forward to rather than dread. Behind the scenes of every successful transformation, you'll find someone who stopped waiting for the perfect moment and started with imperfect action. We often think we'll start tomorrow, but this mythical tomorrow never actually comes. There's always another reason to delay, another excuse to postpone, another tomorrow that seems more convenient than today. But here's the revelation that changes everything. When you wake up in the morning, that first hour doesn't just affect your thinking and energy level, it literally determines the trajectory of your entire day, and by extension, your entire life. This precious time can take you dramatically closer to your dreams if you use it correctly, or it can keep you trapped in the same patterns that have been holding you back. The journey toward your ideal life doesn't begin when you feel completely ready, when circumstances are perfect, or when motivation strikes. It begins the moment you decide to honor the potential that's been waiting inside you. The morning hours offer the perfect laboratory for this experiment in becoming who you're meant to be. The impact of breaking the procrastination cycle through morning practice is immediate and profound. Instead of starting each day already behind, already reactive, already making excuses, you begin from a place of proactive intention. You prove to yourself, before the world even wakes up, that you can follow through on commitments to yourself. What makes this approach so powerful is how it leverages the psychological principle of momentum. Success in your morning practice creates confidence that carries into every other area of your life. Each day that you show up for yourself becomes evidence that you're the kind of person who does what they say they're going to do. The mindset shift from "I'll start tomorrow" to "I start now" is revolutionary because it transforms you from someone who dreams about change into someone who creates change. The distance between where you are and where you want to be isn't measured in time. It's measured in the quality of decisions you make each morning. Now, let me share with you the practical blueprint for implementing this transformation in a way that ensures long-term success. Because understanding the psychology is crucial, but having a clear roadmap makes all the difference in your ability to sustain this practice. Write in the comments, "No more tomorrows," if you're ready to break the procrastination cycle and start designing your transformation today. Now, let me share with you the practical blueprint for implementing this transformation in a way that ensures long-term success. Because understanding the psychology is crucial, but having a clear roadmap makes all the difference in your ability to sustain this practice. The hidden truth about lasting change is found in understanding the magic of small decisions. This transformation won't happen overnight through dramatic gestures or complete life overhauls. It will emerge as the result of small, seemingly insignificant decisions that you make every single day, starting with that first moment when your alarm goes off. Behind the scenes of every extraordinary life, you'll find someone who understood that when you consistently adopt something new, it gradually becomes a habit. And this habit doesn't just change what you do, it transforms you into the person you want to become. The compound effect of daily choices creates momentum that eventually becomes unstoppable. The journey from where you are now to where you want to be isn't about perfection or massive willpower. It's about consistency in small things. Each morning, that you choose to get up instead of hitting snooze. Each time you choose silence over immediately checking your phone. Each moment you invest in yourself before giving your energy to the world. These decisions accumulate into a new identity. What makes this approach so sustainable is that it doesn't require you to become a completely different person immediately. It simply asks you to make slightly different choices each morning, choices that align with who you're becoming, rather than who you've been. The revelation that changes everything is recognizing that we are far more powerful than we think. This isn't motivational hyperbole, it's a practical reality that most people never discover, because they never create the conditions for their potential to emerge. The limitation isn't in your capabilities, it's simply a matter of beginning. As soon as you take that first intentional step in the morning, something extraordinary happens. The door to the possibilities hidden within you begins to open, not all at once, not dramatically, but gradually and consistently. Each morning becomes an opportunity to discover capabilities you didn't know you possessed, to develop strengths you didn't realize were there. The impact of recognizing your inner potential extends far beyond personal achievement. When you begin to understand what you're truly capable of, you start making different decisions throughout your day. You stop settling for circumstances that don't serve you. You begin speaking up for ideas that matter to you. You start taking risks that align with your vision, rather than playing it safe. This awakening to your own potential creates a ripple effect that influences every relationship, every opportunity, every challenge that comes your way. People begin to see you differently because you're showing up differently. Opportunities start appearing because you're prepared to recognize and act on them. The mindset shift from "I don't think I can" to "I wonder what's possible" is revolutionary. It transforms you from someone who reacts to life into someone who actively creates their experience. The morning practice becomes your daily laboratory for experimenting with this expanded version of yourself. Now, I want to reveal the specific implementation strategy that ensures this potential gets activated consistently. Because knowing you have untapped capabilities is just the beginning. Creating systems that bring them to life is what creates lasting transformation. Write in the comments, "I'm more powerful than I know," if you're ready to discover the capabilities that have been waiting inside you to emerge. Now, I want to reveal the specific implementation strategy that ensures this potential gets activated consistently, because knowing you have untapped capabilities is just the beginning. Creating systems that bring them to life is what creates lasting transformation. The science behind why this morning approach works so powerfully is both fascinating and encouraging. Research in neuroscience has revealed that the first hour after waking is when our brain is most receptive to positive programming. Your neural networks are literally in their most malleable state, making this the optimal window for installing new thought patterns, beliefs, and behaviors that support your highest aspirations. Behind the scenes of your consciousness during these precious morning moments, your brain is operating in what scientists call a hypnagogic state, the bridge between sleep and full wakefulness. This unique brainwave pattern creates conditions where new information bypasses your usual mental filters and defense mechanisms, allowing transformational ideas to take root at a subconscious level. This is why morning routines are so extraordinarily effective in creating lasting change in our lives and mindset. You're not fighting against established neural pathways. You're working with your brain's natural receptivity to rewire limiting patterns and install empowering ones. The impact of understanding this timing advantage cannot be overstated. It means that your morning practice isn't just beneficial, it's neurologically optimized for maximum transformation. The journey toward extraordinary living becomes exponentially more powerful when you understand how momentum actually works. Each morning practice doesn't exist in isolation. It builds upon the previous day's efforts, creating a compound effect that carries through all aspects of your life. This isn't just about feeling good in the moment. It's about creating sustainable change that accumulates over time. What happens behind the scenes of consistent morning practice is remarkable. Your brain begins to expect and crave the clarity, energy, and inspiration that come from your intentional morning routine. Neural pathways strengthen with repetition, making positive choices increasingly automatic, rather than requiring constant willpower. The compound effect of daily morning practices leads to exponential personal growth over time, rather than linear improvement. Just like compound interest transforms small investments into substantial wealth, consistent morning investments in yourself create dramatic life changes that seem almost miraculous to outside observers, but are simply the predictable result of systematic personal development. The hidden truth about momentum is that it works in both directions. Just as positive morning choices create upward spirals of growth and achievement, unconscious morning habits create downward spirals of mediocrity and limitation. The difference between extraordinary and ordinary lives often comes down to which type of momentum people choose to create each morning. The revelation that changes everything is understanding that you don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. Each morning that you show up for yourself, you're not just improving that day, you're contributing to a larger transformation that will compound over weeks, months, and years into results that exceed anything you currently imagine possible. Now let me show you exactly how to harness this scientific understanding and momentum principle to create a morning practice that becomes the foundation for the life you've always dreamed of living. Write in the comments, "Science supports my transformation," if you're excited to use your brain's natural programming window for positive change. Now, let me show you exactly how to harness this scientific understanding and momentum principle to create a morning practice that becomes the foundation for the life you've always dreamed of living. The hidden truth about personal transformation is that it never happens in isolation. When you start your day with genuine intention and purpose, this positive energy doesn't stay contained within you. It radiates outward into every interaction and decision throughout your day. Your improved morning routine doesn't just change you, it creates a ripple effect that positively impacts everyone around you. Behind the scenes of your transformation, something remarkable begins to happen to your relationships. Family members notice that you're more patient, more present, more genuinely engaged. Colleagues observe that you're calmer under pressure, more creative in problem solving, more inspiring in your leadership. Friends sense that you're more authentic, more confident, more aligned with your values. This ripple effect occurs because morning excellence changes how you show up in the world. When you begin each day having already invested in yourself, having already connected with your purpose, having already aligned with your highest aspirations, you operate from a place of abundance rather than scarcity. You give from your overflow rather than your emptiness. The journey toward extraordinary living becomes a gift not just to yourself, but to everyone whose life you touch. Your children see what it looks like to prioritize personal growth. Your partner experiences what it means to be in relationship with someone who takes responsibility for their own fulfillment. Your team witnesses what authentic leadership and self-mastery actually look like in practice. The impact extends beyond immediate relationships into the broader contribution you make to the world. When you're operating from your highest potential, you naturally create more value, solve bigger problems, and inspire others to elevate their own standards. Your transformation becomes a permission slip for others to pursue their own extraordinary lives. Now is the time to overcome whatever has been holding you back, whether it's laziness, fear, limiting beliefs, or simply the inertia of familiar patterns. Now is the moment to change your thinking from "I can't" to "I can", from "I don't have time" to "I create time for what matters", from "I'll start tomorrow" to "I start today". The opportunity to make your morning magical isn't something that requires perfect conditions or ideal circumstances. Your miracle morning can literally start today with whatever resources you currently have, in whatever situation you're currently facing. The power to transform your life has been waiting inside you, and the morning hours offer the perfect laboratory for bringing that power to life. The decision that will determine your entire future is the one you make right now. Will you be part of the small percentage who choose transformation over comfort, growth over stagnation, extraordinary living over settling for whatever happens? Or will you remain in the familiar territory of excuses, procrastination, and unfulfilled potential? The beautiful thing about this choice is that it doesn't require you to have everything figured out or to feel completely confident. It simply requires you to take the first step, to make the first different decision, to honor the possibility that your life could be so much more than what you're currently experiencing. Now, let me give you the exact roadmap for implementing this transformation in a way that ensures your success, because understanding the power of morning practice is just the beginning. Knowing how to make it sustainable is what creates lasting change. Write in the comments, "My time is now," if you're ready to step into the extraordinary life that's been waiting for you to claim it. Now let me give you the exact roadmap for implementing this transformation in a way that ensures your success, because understanding the power of morning practice is just the beginning. Knowing how to make it sustainable is what creates lasting change. If you've made it this far in our conversation today, something tells me you're serious about transformation. You're not just looking for quick fixes or temporary motivation. You're ready for the kind of deep, lasting change that comes from understanding how your mind actually works and applying that knowledge consistently. The journey we've taken together today, exploring the science behind morning transformation, understanding the psychology of change, and discovering the specific practices that create extraordinary lives. This isn't just information. It's a blueprint for becoming the person you've always known you could be. And here's the thing. If this resonates with you, if these insights feel like pieces of a puzzle you've been trying to solve, then you'll want to stay connected to more content like this. The subscribe button isn't just about notifications. It's about joining a community of people who understand that personal transformation is the foundation for every other kind of success. If this message found you at exactly the right moment in your life, if something inside you knows this is your time to begin, write in the comments, "This message was meant for me." I'd love to know who's ready to take this journey seriously. And if you feel like we've built something meaningful together over these past few minutes, if this conversation has sparked something inside you, a simple like helps this message reach others who might need to hear it just as much as you did. There's actually a video right here that takes this conversation even deeper, showing you exactly how to overcome the specific obstacles that derail most people's morning transformations. It's like the missing piece that makes everything else click into place. Click and continue with me over there, because your extraordinary life is just one intentional morning away from beginning.